Captain Lee Minho stepped off the transport ship and onto the metal floor of Nexus Prime. The space station was huge, bigger than anything he had ever seen. The walls curved up in a way like the inside of a giant ball, and lights twinkled like stars in the distance. He looked around at the other humans with him. Ambassador Kim Yuna stood tall in her dark blue uniform, her face calm, but her eyes sharp. She had been chosen because she was the best at talking to people and making deals. Behind her, 5 other humans waited nervously. They all knew this was the most important day in human history. "Remember," Kim Yuna said quietly, "we are here to make friends. Earth needs allies in space." The humans had been traveling for weeks to reach this meeting. Earth had finally built ships that could cross the stars, and they had received a message from something called the Zephyrian hegemony. The aliens wanted to meet and talk. The humans were excited and scared at the same time. A door opened with a soft hiss, and the aliens walked in. Lee Minho had seen pictures, but seeing them in person was different. The Zephyrians were tall, much taller than humans. Their skin looked like it was made of crystal that changed colors in the light. They wore long robes that seemed to float around them, and when they moved, it was like watching dancers. The leader walked in front of the others. He was the biggest, with sharp features and eyes that glowed like blue fire. When he spoke, his voice was deep and seemed to come from everywhere at once. "So these are the creatures from the small blue world," he said. The words came through a machine that changed his language into English. "How... Interesting." Kim Yuna stepped forward. With a smile, "I am Ambassador Kim Yuna, representing Earth and all of humanity. We come in peace, seeking friendship and trade between our peoples." The alien leader looked down at her like she was a small child. "I am High Commander Veltar of the Zephyrian hegemony. We have watched your species for some time now. You know we are ready to join the community of spacefaring peoples," Kim Yuna said. "Earth has much to offer. Our scientists, our art, our different ways of thinking." Veltar made a sound that the translation machine turned into laughter, but it sounded cold and mean. "Offer? What could a species that still burns chemical fuel possibly offer us?" The other Zephyrians laughed too. Lee Minho felt his hands make fists, but he kept them at his sides. Kim Yuna's smile did not change. "Our ships may be simple," she said, "but they brought us here. We are eager to learn and grow. Simple." The voice got louder. "We have seen your vessels. They are scrap metal held together by primitive welds. You fly through space in coffins powered by explosions." More laughter from the aliens. One of them, smaller than Veltar, but still huge compared to humans, stepped forward. "Look at them," he said. "They are so small and weak. How do they even survive on their little world?" Lee Minho watched Kim Yuna's face. Her smile was still there, but he could see the anger in her eyes now. She was trying hard to stay calm. "Every species has its own path of development," she said carefully. "What matters is that we have reached the stars. We are here ready to learn and contribute." Veltar walked closer to her. He was so tall that she had to look up to see his face. "Contribute? You barely understand the basic laws of physics? Your mathematics are like those of children. Your weapons are sticks and stones compared to ours." The human delegation stood very still. They had hoped for friendship, but this was turning into something else. The aliens were not just uninterested in being friends. They were being mean on purpose. "Your species amuses us," Veltar continued. "You actually believe you belong among the stars. You think your crude technology makes you equal to civilizations that have traveled space for thousands of years." Kim Yuna's voice stayed steady. "We do not claim to be equal in technology. We offer partnership, mutual benefit, shared knowledge." "Partnership," Veltar laughed again. "What partnership could exist between gods and insects? You are barely evolved creatures playing at civilization." The other Zephyrians made sounds of agreement. Lee Minho could feel the anger building in his chest. These aliens were not just rejecting Earth's friendship, they were insulting all of humanity. "We should end this farce," one of the other aliens said. "These creatures clearly do not understand their place in the universe. Veltar nodded slowly. Perhaps you are right. Perhaps we should remind them of their true place in the cosmic order. Kim Yuna finally let some of her anger show. We came here in good faith. We offered friendship and cooperation. If you are not interested, we will leave in peace. Peace. Veltar's eyes seemed to glow brighter. There is no peace for species that reach too far above their station. You will learn your place, little humans. Soon. The meeting ended with the aliens walking out, their laughter echoing in the big chamber. The humans stood alone, the sound of mockery still ringing in their ears. Lee Minho looked at Kim Yuna. Her diplomatic mask was finally gone, replaced by cold fury. Send the message to Earth, she said quietly. Tell them everything. Tell them exactly what these creatures think of us. The big screen in the Earth Defense Center showed the same terrible scene for the 5th time. Director Park Ji-won watched as the alien ship appeared near mining station Delta 7 like a silver ghost. The Zephyrian vessel was beautiful, smooth, and shiny, moving through space like it was dancing. Then it fired, the beam that came from the alien ship did not look like any weapon the humans knew. It was not a laser or a missile. It was something that seemed to bend space itself, making the stars behind it look twisted and wrong. When the beam hit the mining station, the whole thing just disappeared. Not exploded, not broken apart. Just gone, like it had never existed.
How many people were on that station?
Park asked quietly. 47, answered Colonel Yunhana, who stood beside him. All dead in less than a second. The room was full of Earth's military leaders, but no one spoke. They all knew what they had just seen. The aliens had shown them how easy it would be to destroy human settlements. Admiral Choi Seok cleared his throat. The message came 3 hours after the attack, he said. They want an answer in 30 days. Park nodded. He had read the message many times, but it still made him angry. The Zephyrians had not asked for anything complicated. They wanted Earth to surrender, all of it. Every human colony, every ship, every person. They wanted humanity to become slaves. They call it tributary status, Park said, his voice bitter. They want us to serve them, give them whatever they want, and be grateful for the chance. The big screen changed to show other attacks. Station Gamut 12 in the asteroid belt gone. The research base on Europa destroyed. Jupiter vaporized. Each attack was the same. One alien ship would appear, fire once, and disappear. Quick, clean, effortless. They are showing us their power, said Captain Song Joon-ho, who commanded one of Earth's few real warships. They want us to be afraid. It is working, admitted General Kim Dae-ho from the army. People are panicking. Some colonies are already asking if they should surrender. Park walked to the window that looked out over the Earth Defense Center. Below, thousands of people worked at computers and screens, trying to figure out how to save humanity. But what could they do against aliens who could destroy entire stations with a single shot? Sir, Colonel Yoon said carefully, we have to consider the possibility that resistance is impossible. Their technology is far beyond ours. Park turned back to face the room. Admiral Choi stood up slowly. He was an old man with gray hair and tired eyes, but his voice was strong. There is something you all need to know, something that has been classified for 20 years. The room went very quiet. Park nodded to Choi, giving him permission to continue. What the aliens saw of our fleet was not everything, Choi said. The ships they observed, the ones they called scrap metal, were our public vessels, our merchant ships, our research vessels, our colony transports. They were never meant to fight, Colonel Yoon frowned. What do you mean? I mean that Earth has been building a real military fleet for decades. Hidden, secret, designed for one purpose, to protect humanity from exactly this kind of threat. The room exploded in surprised voices. Park held up his hand for silence. 20 years ago, he explained, when we first reached the stars, our leaders made a decision. They knew that space would be dangerous. They knew we might meet hostile aliens. So they created 2 programs. One public, one secret. Admiral Choi activated a new display. The screen showed ships that none of them had ever seen before. These were not the simple boxy vessels that Earth used for trade and exploration. These were warships, covered in weapons and armor, looking like metal sharks ready to attack. "The UES Hammer," Choi said, pointing to the biggest ship. "The UES Fury, the UES Thunder, the UES Vengeance." 57 ships in total, all hidden. In secret bases throughout the solar system, Captain Song leaned forward. "Why was this kept secret from us?" "'Cause," Park answered, "the best way to hide your true strength is to make your enemies think you are weak. The Zephyrians studied our public fleet and decided we were no threat. They never looked deeper." "But can these ships fight the aliens?" asked General Kim. "Their weapons destroyed our stations so easily." Admiral Choi smiled for the first time in days. "The stations they destroyed were bait. Each one was equipped with hidden sensors, recording everything about their attacks. We know their weapon signatures, their shield frequencies, their tactical patterns. They gave us everything we need to fight them. More importantly," Park added, "they showed us their minimum force. They're trying to make us surrender without a real fight. They do not want to risk their own ships and people." The room was silent as everyone thought about this. The aliens had tried to scare humanity into giving up. They had also revealed their own weaknesses. "So what do we do?" Colonel Yoon asked. Park looked around the room at Earth's defenders. "We send them a message. We tell them that humanity's answer is no. We will not surrender. We will not serve them. And if they want to take our world, they will have to fight for it." Admiral Choi nodded. "Activate Protocol Omega. It is time to show them what humans really are." The dark side of the moon had been hiding Earth's biggest secret for 20 years. Colonel Yoon Hannah floated through the massive underground shipyard, watching as the real human fleet prepared for war. The cavern was so huge that she could not see the far walls, and it was filled with ships that looked nothing like the peaceful vessels the aliens had mocked. The UES Hammer hung in the center of the space dock, and it was beautiful in a deadly way. Where Zephyrian ships were smooth and curved, this was all sharp angles and hard surfaces. Gun barrels stuck out from every side like the spines of an angry animal. The hull was thick steel and ceramic, painted dark gray to blend with space. "Is not pretty," said Captain Kim Sora, who would command the Hammer, "but she is built to take punishment and keep fighting." Yu nodded as she looked at the weapons. The main guns were rail guns that could fire metal slugs at incredible speed. Missile pods covered the sides, each one holding dozens of warheads. Point defense guns would shoot down anything that got too close. This was not a ship built for exploration or trade. This was a ship built to kill. "How many ships do we have?" Yoon asked. 57 warships, all hidden in different locations, Kim answered. Some behind asteroids, some in the outer planets, some even hiding in Earth's magnetic field, where sensors cannot detect them. They moved to the next dock, where the UES Fury was being loaded with ammunition. Captain Song Junho supervised the work, making sure every weapon was ready. The Fury was smaller than the Hammer, but faster and more heavily armed for its size. "Aliens fight in formations," Song explained to his crew. "They move together like dancers, elegant and predictable. We will not fight that way. We will swarm them like angry bees, attack from all directions, make them confused and scared." Admiral Choi arrived at the base just as the final preparations were being made. He had been traveling to all the secret bases, checking on the fleet and talking to the captains. His face was tired but determined. "The aliens sent another message," he told the assembled officers. "They're growing impatient. They want our answer in 10 days. "What about the colonies?" asked Captain Lee Min-ho, who had been transferred from diplomatic service to fleet command. "Are people still panicking?" "Some are," Choi admitted, "but others are getting angry. The destruction of the mining stations killed people they knew. Friends, family members. Fear is turning into rage." Pulled up a holographic display showing the solar system. Red dots marked where the aliens had attacked, and blue dots showed where human ships were hiding. There were far more blue dots than anyone had expected. "Each destroyed station was sending us data right until the moment it died," she explained. "We know exactly how their weapons work, how their shields operate, how their ships move. They thought they were just destroying defenseless targets, but they were actually teaching us how to fight them." Captain Kim studied the tactical information. Their beam weapons are powerful, but they take time to charge between shots. Their shields are strong against energy attacks, but we use solid projectiles. Their ships are fast, but they are not HEAVILY, armored. Most importantly, Admiral Choi added, they are overconfident. They think they are dealing with primitive humans who will run away at the first sign of trouble. They have never fought an enemy that refuses to surrender. Die. Final ship in the dock was the UES Vengeance, a massive vessel designed to carry smaller attack ships. Captain Park Ji-hoon was checking the launch bays where dozens of fighter craft waited. These were single-pilot ships, fast and maneuverable, armed with missiles and guns. If the big ships are like hammers, Park explained, these fighters are like knives. They will get in close where the alien weapons cannot track them properly. Song looked at the pilots preparing their small ships. They were all young, all volunteers, all ready to die for Earth. Do you think we can win? He asked. Quietly, Admiral Choi was quiet for a long moment. The aliens are more advanced than us. Their individual ships are superior to ours. But they have forgotten something important. What is that? Yoon asked. They have forgotten that sometimes the primitive way is the most effective way. Rely on elegant technology and perfect tactics. We rely on determination and the willingness to do whatever it takes to win. The shipyard was buzzing with activity as the final preparations were made. Engineers checked every system twice. Weapons officers loaded every gun and missile tube. Medical teams prepared for the wounded that would surely come. The aliens expected. To scare us into surrendering, Choi continued. Instead, they gave us time to prepare and information about their capabilities. They have made the classic mistake of underestimating their enemy. Captain Kim looked at the hammer's thick armor and heavy weapons. When do we launch? Soon, Choi replied. The aliens want an answer to their ultimatum. We will give them one. But it will not be the answer they expect. As the human fleet prepared for the battle that would decide Earth's fate, every person in the secret base understood the stakes. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but they were fighting for their home, their families, their very survival. That had to count for something. The aliens had made one crucial error. They'd given humanity time to prepare, and humans were very good at preparing for war. The Zephyrian fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system like a collection of beautiful silver jewels. 30 ships moved in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight. They'd come to collect their prize, expecting to find a defeated planet ready to surrender. High Commander Veltar stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the blue world grow larger on his screen. Earth looked so small and helpless, hanging in the darkness of space. He had destroyed the human mining stations with ease, and now he expected the same quick victory. Send the final message, he commanded his communications officer. Tell them, their time is up. The message went out on all frequencies, reaching every human settlement in the solar system. Veltar's voice was cold and commanding as he spoke. People of Earth, your 30 days have passed. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Resist, and we will show you the true power of the Zephyrian hegemony. He waited for the response, expecting pleas for mercy or offers of surrender. Instead, he heard something that surprised him. It was the voice of Admiral Choi, speaking from somewhere near Earth. This is Admiral Choi of the Earth Defense Fleet. We have considered your demands, and our answer is simple. No. Veltar felt a moment of confusion. The humans still thought they could resist, after seeing what had happened to their stations. Have seen our power, Veltar replied. Your pathetic ships are no match for our technology. Surrender now, or watch your world burn. Come and take it, Choi answered simply. The Zephyrian fleet moved forward in their elegant formation. Their sensors showed only a handful of the crude human ships they had observed before, scattered and apparently fleeing. It would be easy to destroy them one by one, then move on to the planet itself. Then space exploded around them. The first human ship appeared from behind Earth's moon, its ugly gray hull bristling with weapons. The EU's hammer opened fire with all its railguns, sending metal slugs at incredible speed toward the alien formation. The tungsten projectiles hit the leading Zephyrian ship before its crew could react, punching through its elegant hull like bullets through paper. More human ships appeared from everywhere. They had been hiding in asteroid fields, behind planets, even inside Earth's magnetic field where the alien sensors could not detect them. The UES Fury led a group of smaller ships, in a wild charge, firing missiles and guns as they came. Impossible, Beltar shouted as his perfect formation began to break apart. Where did these ships come from? The human vessels did not move like the civilized fleets he was used to fighting. They swarmed like angry insects, attacking from all directions at once. When one ship was damaged, two more would appear to take its place. When alien weapons destroyed a human vessel, the wreckage would often ram into Zephyrian ships, causing even more damage. Captain Song Junho commanded the Fury as it dove through the alien formation. His ship was taking terrible damage, but he kept fighting. When his main guns were destroyed, he switched to missiles. When his missile pods were empty, he used his point defense weapons. When those failed, he aimed his ship at the nearest alien vessel. All ships, this is Song, he broadcast. They may be prettier than us, but they bleed just like anyone else. Keep hitting them. The battle was chaos. The aliens were used to elegant combat between civilized fleets, with rules and formations and predictable tactics. The humans fought. Like wild animals, using every dirty trick they could think of, they rammed damaged ships into alien vessels. They fired all their weapons at once, overloading their own systems to get maximum damage. They refused to retreat even when their ships were dying around them. Captain Kim Sora commanded the Hammer as it traded fire with 3 alien ships at once. Her vessel was built to take punishment, and she proved it. Energy beams that should have destroyed her ship instead just burned through the outer armor. When her bridge was hit, she moved to the backup command center. When that was damaged, she commanded from engineering. "This is what Earth builds," she said over the radio as her guns tore apart an alien cruiser. Not pretty, but effective. Zephyrian ships were individually superior to the human vessels. Their weapons were more powerful, their shields stronger, their hulls more advanced. But they had never fought an enemy that simply refused to quit. When human ships were crippled, they kept fighting with backup systems. When their weapons failed, they used their ships as weapons. Captain Lee Minho led a squadron of the small fighter craft against the alien flagship. The tiny ships were too small and fast for the big alien guns to track properly. They swarmed around Veltar's ship like mosquitoes, stinging it with missiles and gunfire. "Target their weapon systems," Lee ordered his pilots. "Make them helpless." The fighters dove in close, so close that they were almost touching the alien hull. Their missiles exploded against the ship's weapons, destroying the elegant energy cannons that the Zephyrians relied on. Veltar watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart by the crude human ships. This was not how war was supposed to be fought. This was not civilized combat. This was butchery. "All ships retreat," he finally ordered. "Fall back to the outer system." But it was too late. The human ships surrounded them, giving no quarter and asking for none. Admiral Choi stood on the bridge of the UES Indomitable as his flagship pushed through the burning wreckage of the alien fleet. Half of his ship was gone, the hull torn open and bleeding air into space. Emergency lights flickered, and the smell of smoke filled the air. But the engines still worked, and the guns still fired. "Sir, we have a clear shot at the alien command ship," reported his weapons officer, Lieutenant Park Minsu. The young man's face was covered in blood from a head wound, but his hands were steady on the controls. Through the cracked view screen, Choi could see Veltar's flagship. The beautiful silver vessel was damaged but still dangerous. Its energy weapons were charging for another shot, and Choi knew his ship could not survive another direct hit. "All remaining power to engines," he ordered. "We are going to ram them." Bridge crew looked at him with surprise, but no one questioned the order. They all knew what this meant. The Indomitable was dying anyway, and this was their chance to take the enemy commander with them. Admiral Lieutenant Park said quietly, "We could use the escape pods, save the crew." Choi shook his head. No time. Besides, I want to look that alien in the eye when we hit him. The Indomitable accelerated toward the alien flagship, its engines glowing white-hot. Veltar's ship fired its main weapon, the energy beam tearing through the human ship's hull. But it was too late to stop the collision. The two ships came together. With tremendous force, Indomitable's reinforced bow, designed specifically for ramming attacks, punched through the alien vessel's elegant hull. Both ships spun through space, locked together in a deadly embrace. On the alien bridge, Veltar lay pinned under fallen debris. His crystalline features were cracked, and strange blue liquid leaked from his wounds. Around him, his crew was dead, or dying. The perfect, beautiful bridge was now a ruin of twisted metal and sparking electronics. A communication channel crackled to life. Through the static, he heard Admiral Choi's voice, speaking from somewhere in the wreckage of the human. "Ship, can you hear me, Veltar?" Choi's voice was calm, almost friendly. "I wanted to talk to you before we die." "You?" "You are all insane," Veltar gasped. "No civilized species fights like this. You are animals." "Maybe," Choi replied. "But we are animals that protect our home. You wanted to see what humans are capable of. This is what we do to those who threaten our world." Through his ship's failing sensors, Veltar could see the rest of the battle. His fleet was being destroyed by the crude human vessels. Ships that should have been easy targets were fighting like demons, refusing to surrender even when they were clearly beaten. "We offered you mercy," Veltar said weakly. "We could have ruled you with kindness. You offered us slavery," Choi answered, "and we chose death instead. That is the difference between us." The alien commander tried to move, but his injuries were too severe. He was dying, and he knew it. Around him, his perfect ship was falling apart, its advanced systems failing one by one. "Why?" he whispered. "Why fight so hard for such a small, primitive world?" Choi's laugh was bitter. "Because it is our world. Our home, our families live there. You could never understand that, could you? You see planets as property to be taken. We see Earth as something worth dying for." The communication channel went silent. Veltar realized that the human admiral was dead, killed by the collision that had doomed them both. The alien commander closed his eyes and waited for death to claim him too. Around the two dying flagships, the battle was ending. The surviving Zephyrian ships were retreating, their elegant formations broken and scattered. Captain Kim Sora's hammer pursued them, its guns still firing, even though half the ship was gone. "Let them go," she ordered her crew. "Let them run home and tell everyone what happened here." The human fleet regrouped near Earth, their ships battered but victorious. More than half of the vessels had been destroyed or severely damaged. Thousands of humans had died in the battle, but they had one captain's song. Junho's fury was barely holding together. But he managed to send a message to all the surviving ships. "This is song. Is anyone keeping count of how many we got?" The radio crackled with responses from the other captains, all of them tired but proud. They had faced a superior enemy and emerged victorious through sheer determination and refusal to surrender. News of the battle spread quickly through the galaxy. The Zephyrian survivors told their story to anyone who would listen. The primitive humans had defeated a superior fleet through savage, unpredictable tactics. They had used their ships as weapons, fought to the death, and shown no mercy to their enemies. Other alien species began to look at Earth with new respect. The small blue world was no longer seen as a primitive target. It was now known as a place where dangerous creatures lived, creatures that would fight to the death to protect their home. The Zephyrian taunts had echoed through space for weeks, mocking human weakness and primitive technology. Now those taunts were silenced, replaced by whispers of fear and respect. Earth's gunships patrolled the outer solar system, their ugly gray holes scarred by battle but still dangerous. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Never underestimate a species fighting for its home. The echo of alien mockery had faded forever, replaced by the sound of human engines and the respect born of victory.